The world of camera rigs can feel intimidating, whether you're just starting out or you've been on set for years. Camera gear is always evolving, and it's easy to feel like you're constantly playing catch-up. Every camera rig you see exists for one reason: to help an operator capture a specific shot, in a specific way, for a specific purpose, to best serve the story. And once you start looking at camera rigs through that lens, they become a lot less intimidating and a lot more useful.
Okay, we don't want to f*** up the cameras before we leave.
Every rig starts with the camera body. That's the one constant, the piece that everything else is built around. If you're working with a lightweight camera like a Sony FX3 or a Red Komodo, you gain flexibility. These cameras are small, fast to move, and easy to get into tight spaces. But that flexibility comes with trade-offs. You'll often need external power to last through a full shoot day, better audio solutions for professional sound, and clearer monitoring so you can confidently frame and expose your shots. On larger productions, cameras like the Arri Alexa Mini introduce a different challenge: weight. Heavier cameras demand more from the rig. They need stronger support, better balance, and thoughtful placement to keep the operator comfortable and the movement controlled. That leads to the first rule of rigging. Your rig exists to compensate for what the camera doesn't do on its own. Understanding that mindset changes how you approach gear. Instead of asking what you can add to a camera, you start asking what problems need to be solved. In Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men, long, immersive takes weren't achieved just because of the camera itself. They were made possible through custom-built rigs designed to move through cars, crowds, and chaotic environments without breaking the shot. The rig wasn't there to show off complex gear and fancy camera movements. It was there to disappear, allowing the camera to stay present inside the moment and the audience to be present in the story.
No, out of the hundreds, you are still the
I'm not doing it.
one. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you
The
are.
car's moving
Yes,
too
you
much.
are.
That's the goal of every good camera rig. Not to be noticed, but to make the best shot possible.
No, wait. Okay. Do it again. Julian, that's this.
The foundation of most camera rigs is not glamorous. Cages, base plates, and 15mm rods aren't exciting. They don't change every year. They don't get flashy announcements or dramatic spec bumps. And that's exactly why they've survived for decades. A camera cage, whether it's from Small Rig, Tilter, or any other manufacturer, isn't there to make your camera look more professional. It's there to give you options. It provides mounting points for monitors, audio, wireless systems, so the rig can evolve as the day evolves. Because no shoot ever stays the same from call time to wrap. You can see this across every level of filmmaking. Film shot on phones, like Sean Baker's Tangerine, Steven Soderbergh's Unsane, or Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, relied on cages and mounting systems. A simple camera cage elevated their iPhones into a proper filmmaking tool, providing places to mount lenses, stabilize movement, and adapt the camera to real-world shooting conditions. Base plates and rod systems solve an even older problem. They let you position lenses correctly, support weight, and detach tools like matte boxes, follow focus units, and lens supports. These are solutions cinematographers were using long before digital cinema, mirrorless cameras, or even video monitors. And the reason these systems still work is simple. The problem hasn't changed. You still need stability and balance. You still need a way to attach tools without reinventing the wheel every time you build a rig. That's why a 15mm rod system from 10 years ago still works perfectly today. The same thing happened during the DSLR revolution, when small cameras were everywhere. But filmmakers quickly realized they still needed cages, rods, and base plates to make those cameras usable on set. Because no matter how advanced the camera becomes, it still needs a stable, adaptable platform to live on. That's what makes these tools timeless. They're not tied to trends. They're tied to how filmmaking actually works. Monitoring is one area where camera technology has genuinely changed the way films are made. Modern onboard monitors are brighter, sharper, and packed with exposure tools that didn't exist for most of cinema history. False color waveforms and LUTs are decision-making tools that help camera operators, gaffers, cinematographers, and directors make well-informed choices. Electronic viewfinders still play a crucial role, especially when the camera lives on the shoulder. They give operators a locked-in, stable point of reference and help anchor the camera to the body. But the moment a camera comes off the shoulder, handheld, low mode, extended away from the body, the viewfinder alone stops being enough. That's where external monitoring becomes essential. Whether you're shooting on a mirrorless camera with small on-body monitors or cinema cameras with no monitoring at all, mounting an external monitor makes every shot easier to adjust exposure, contrast, and composition elements like horizon lines, headroom, and edge detail at a glance. Monitoring also turns operating into a shared language on set. Directors, focus pullers, and assistants can see what the camera sees, make adjustments, and catch issues before they become problems in post. In practice, good monitoring reduces guesswork, it speeds up decisions, and it gives operators confidence that what they're capturing is exactly what the story needs. Every camera needs power, no exceptions. Internal batteries are designed for short runtimes. They're fine for quick setups, student projects, or handheld shots, but they drain fast. Add an onboard monitor, wireless audio, or longer takes, and you'll be swapping batteries constantly. External batteries solve that problem. V-mount and gold-mount batteries are popular because they provide more power for longer, and they can run multiple pieces of gear at the same time. One battery can power the camera, the monitor, and accessories through DTAP or power outputs. This makes shoots more efficient, fewer battery changes, less downtime, more time actually rolling. Battery placement also matters. Mounting a larger battery at the back of the rig helps balance the weight of the lens and camera at the front, especially on shoulder rigs. These external battery packs may seem simply utilitarian, but when the camera stays powered, the operator can focus on framing and movement instead of battery levels. And when time becomes of the essence on set, camera power should never be a limiting factor for getting the shot. Every accessory on a camera rig should solve a specific problem. Before adding anything to a rig, ask simple questions. Will this accessory make the shot easier to capture, or just heavier? Is light changing or uncontrolled? Does this shot involve movement? Will I be pulling focus? How shallow is the depth of field? Does the talent need to move freely? For example, a follow focus exists so focus pulls are accurate and repeatable. If the shot involves movement, shallow depth of field, or precise focus marks, a follow focus makes sense. If the shot is locked off and deep focus, you probably don't need one. A matte box controls light. It holds filters, blocks lens flares, and keeps reflections off the front element. If you're shooting outdoors, using ND filters, or working with strong backlight, a matte box earns its place. If you're indoors with controlled lighting, it might not be necessary. This is where beginners often go wrong. They add accessories because they've seen them on other rigs, not because the shot requires them. If an accessory improves the shot or the workflow, it belongs on the rig. If it doesn't, it's just extra weight. Good rigging isn't about having more gear. It's about having the right gear for the shot in front of you.
Our guests know their deepest secrets, some of which are frankly rather unseemly, will go with us to our graves. So keep your mouth shut, Zero.
Yes, sir.
That's all for now.
Once you've built your camera rig, the next question isn't what else can I add? It's where does all the weight go? Because the moment you start mounting lenses, batteries, monitors and accessories, the rig begins to pose a physical problem. It has mass. It has gravity. And whether the shot feels controlled or chaotic often comes down to how that weight is distributed and how wieldy your camera becomes. Shoulder rigs are about physics. If the lens and camera are pulling forward, something has to pull back. That's why batteries or counterweights often sit behind the shoulder. This isn't a modern trick. ENG crews were doing this decades ago because it works. A balanced shoulder rig lets an operator carry the weight through their body instead of their arms. That means longer takes, more controlled movement, and less fatigue over the course of the day. Handheld rigs are different. They prioritize speed and immediacy. They're faster to move, easier to react with, and great for shots that need energy or urgency. But handheld also introduces instability. The longer the take, the more fatigue shows up in the frame. This is why handheld works best when movement is intentional and limited. Short bursts, motivated motion, or moments where a little shake adds to the feeling of the scene. Example, The Bourne Ultimatum. That aggressive handheld style only works because the rigs are balanced enough to stay controlled. Chaotic, but intentional. When smooth camera pans or tilts are the primary movement of a shot, tripods are still the right tool. Locking the camera down removes the weight on the operator, allowing them to focus on the perfect pan or tilt. For scenes built around long takes, blocking, or precise, complex composition, other tools step in.
And which car were you planning on?
Whichever one you are.
Dollies, steadicams, and cranes remove the weight of the camera from the operator's body and transfer it to mechanical support. A dolly rides on tracks or wheels. A steadicam uses an arm and vest to carry the load. Cranes and jibs move the camera through space using counterbalance and leverage. Once the weight is off the operator, movement becomes smoother and more consistent. The operator can focus on timing, framing, and choreography instead of fighting gravity. Each tool exists to solve a different movement problem. The key is that no support system is better than another. Each one answers a different question the shot is asking. Professional camera rigs are never finished. They're rebuilt constantly. The same camera might be stripped down for handheld dialogue, built up for a locked-off close-up, then reconfigured for movement, sometimes all in one shooting day. There is no perfect rig. There is only the best rig that helps you get the shot your story needs. Once you understand that, gear stops being intimidating and starts becoming intuitive. One of the best ways to prepare your camera rigs for an upcoming shoot is with a script breakdown. Knowing what each scene requires can be marked, shared, approved, and prepped. StudioBinder was designed for this kind of preparation, along with so much more. Until next time, happy rigging!